So the topic of today's webinar is organizing and managing your Overleaf projects and using the project dashboard. The Overleaf project dashboard is the first screen that you usually see when you open Overleaf. It's what we're all looking at now. If you're like most users though, you probably rush past this screen and dive directly into the Overleaf editor to start working on your projects. It's really the editor where most users spend most of their time. But today we're going to be taking a pause and look at the dashboard. It really is your gateway to many of Overleaf's features, and knowing how to use it can help keep your projects, which likely represent some of your most important work, organized and accessible to you. So through this webinar, we're hoping that you're going to be able to navigate around Overleaf more effectively, know where to find all the different parts of the product, learn how to complete all the lifecycle tasks for your projects, such as renaming, trashing, leaving, archiving, or deleting projects. You'll see how labels and tags can help keep things organized for you. You'll be able to locate your projects using search options and filters, and just generally appreciate how a well-maintained dashboard can help you with your work. So as I mentioned, the Overleaf project dashboard is your gateway to all of your Overleaf projects, and they're listed here by default in the order in which they were last updated. You can see that here. I have a variety of projects, and they're listed in the order that they were most recently modified, either by me or, in the case of the project at the top of my list, by one of my collaborators. So you can sort by other criteria by clicking on the different headings in the dashboard list. So we can see things like my oldest project, something that was modified a few years ago, or we can sort by owner or by title. By default, if you come back into the project though, you'll go back to the last modified criteria. So you can, this is kind of handy as you can see if your collaborators have updated something, and generally the project that you're working on is going to be at the top of your list. So clicking on the name of the project will cause you to leave the project dashboard and enter directly into the editor. So for example, if I click on math expressions, I'm brought right into the Overleaf editor for that project. So if I want to get back to the dashboard, there's actually a couple of options. The best way up is to use this, this button here next to the Overleaf menu. It's the up arrow. So I'll just click on that and get back into the project dashboard. So let's take a look at a few of the other things that you may not have noticed about the dashboard. Along the bottom, you'll find a variety of links, including an option for translating the dashboard and the editor into other languages. These translations that you can choose are actually provided by volunteers from the Overleaf community. We're very grateful for those. So this is why we don't have a complete list of languages. It's based on the generosity of the volunteers who offer to do those translations for us. Other things you'll find here are links to some helpful information about Overleaf, privacy and terms, security information. A really helpful link here is the blog link. If you click on this, you'll momentarily leave the dashboard, but you'll remain on the Overleaf site. I recommend when you have time to check out the blog in particular. Maybe if you're taking a break from your work. It's where we announce new features, new partnerships, and also new webinars. So it's definitely worth checking out. Now, once you click on one of these links and go elsewhere in the Overleaf site, there's two ways to get back to your project dashboard. You can click on the projects button here in the top right, or you can click on the Overleaf icon in the top left. So I'll go over here and click on the projects. That brings us back to our dashboard. Another thing that you may see in the dashboard from time to time are announcements. So I'm just going to refresh my dashboard. And you see, sometimes you'll see these sort of notifications, they come through. In this case, someone has invited me to a project. So if you're invited to a project, two things will happen. You'll receive an email invitation that you can click on, and you'll also receive a dashboard notification. Dashboard notifications are also used in cases of special announcements or notifications of planned maintenance. So don't be surprised if you happen to see these things come up. So I'm going to go ahead and join this project. I could dismiss this this information by clicking the X. If I do that, I can still join the project by clicking on the email that was sent to me. But this is just a convenient way to join projects from within Overleaf. So I've joined this project, and then I'm given the option to open it. So again, I'm going to go back to the project dashboard by clicking up, and that new project has appeared in my list. So another button that's really helpful, another area of the project dashboard, is the account area. This is your way of getting towards many useful settings for your account and your subscription. So if you click on the account settings, you can get to areas which include adding additional email addresses, changing your password, and accessing a lot of the integration features that are available. For example, the Dropbox, Mendeley, GitHub. You can also potentially sign up for the Overleaf beta program, manage your sessions. So this is where you would look to see if you are logged in elsewhere in Overleaf. And it also lets you know of any linked accounts, allows you to manage your linked accounts. So I'll head back to the project dashboard by clicking on the project icon. So in the main area, like I mentioned, you have your collection of projects listed in order of last accessed, last updated. But there's a variety of things you can do here other than just opening the project. Some of the lifecycle actions that you can perform, you can do through these action buttons along the right. So for example, you can click on one of these to make a copy, to download, to archive, or to trash the project. Now, if I download a project, it's important to realize what you're going to get is a zip file of the source only. So you will not be seeing the compiled PDF in that zip. Only the source is downloaded when you click that button. Now, if you select the project, so we can also select projects, you'll see that some other options appear. So I don't know if you look on the top right, selecting the project causes these options to appear. Now, some of them kind of are a repeat of the actions that are available in the action column. There are some other options as well. If I click on more, in this case, this fractions and binomial project, which was just shared with me, I can make a copy. If I make a copy of this project, it will be owned by me. So why don't we do that? By default, the name that you get is just the same name as the project with the word copy after it, which for now I think is okay. So we noticed that when I selected fractions and binomials, and I went to more, I had the option of making a copy. If I select my personal copy of this project, I also have the rename option. That option isn't available to you on projects that you do not own. Only the owner can rename a project. As the owner of this copy, I can rename it. So I think I will. And I'll just say this is the best version, just so I don't get confused with the one that my collaborator shared with me. So that's one way of changing the name of a project. You can select it, go to more, and rename. So we see here that some of the projects are owned by me and some of them are owned by other people. If I click on the All Projects filter, I'll see all the projects that I am either owning or collaborating on. If I only want to see the ones that I own, I can select the Your Projects list. And if I want to see projects that I am a collaborator in but not the owner, I can click on the Shared With You list. So back up to all projects. A little bit about these different options that are available, particularly these options here, the archiving and the trash. The archive really is just a way of moving some items off your primary dashboard. If you have been using Overleaf for a while and you've been working on a variety of projects, the project dashboard can get a little bit busy. And some of the projects are ones that you would like to keep, but maybe they're not really active projects. Those kinds of projects are good candidates for archiving. It's really just a secondary area for projects that you don't really want on your main dashboard. So I can select a couple of these. Maybe I've decided that I'm not going to work on these projects right now. I can select multiple projects and move them to the archive at once. Now, when I do that, I get a little notice reminding me about what the archive is and what I'm doing. And this is a helpful reminder because I'm actually archiving something that belongs to someone else. But really, that won't affect their view of it. The archive just works on a per user basis. So I can put projects that are not owned by me into my archive, and they could still remain on the active dashboards of other people who are working on them. So if you want to learn more about this, if you click on the Find Out More, it'll take you to one of our Learn pages. If I do that, it opens up a new window and takes me to a blog entry about archiving and trashing. So I'm going to confirm that now. If I want to find those projects, I can go over here to the Archive Projects area. And that'll contain not only the ones I just archived, but also any ones that have been in the archive for a while. If I was using Dropbox synchronization, which is one of the premium features, any project that is in the archive will continue to synchronize. So these are still projects that you can work on. They are projects that other people can work on, and they are projects that can be synchronized still with Dropbox or with GitHub. The archive really is just a kind of secondary extra desk for you to push things to that you're not really wanting to have in your primary dashboard. If I realize that I've made a mistake and I really do want to continue working on fractions and binomials, my version, I can restore it to my primary dashboard by clicking the restore. And if we go back, there it is again. So The other option here, the little trash can, is a little different than the archive. Let's say I've decided to trash this. If I click on trash, again, I'll get a notification making sure that that's what I want to do, and also a link to finding out more about how the trash works. I'm actually going to go ahead and trash that. Now, the trash doesn't affect any collaborators on the project. It really just affects where the project appears in my overall dashboard. Basically, it's a queue for some things that I'd like to delete eventually. The trash is not automatically deleted. The projects are still here. If I click on trash projects, they're still listed. It's basically a staging area for things that I will eventually plan to get rid of. So it's a good idea to occasionally look in your trash and see what you have here and make a decision about what you'd like to do. So when it's time to empty your trash, you go into the trash projects area, and we see a couple of options here. We see the restore for this one, but we also see a delete option. So the delete option is actual deletion. If you click on this, you'll receive a warning saying that you're about to delete the project and it cannot be undone. We actually do retain deleted projects for a short period of time. So if you are in a hurry and you've trashed a project, hit the delete key, ignored the warning, hit confirm, and then realized, oh my, I really shouldn't have done that. If you get in touch with support, we can restore deleted projects as long as they were only deleted within the last 3 months. So it's best to let us know immediately if you've made a mistake like this and you'd like to have something restored, because once it has been deleted and it has sat there for 90 days, it will be permanently deleted. So there's one icon here that's a little different. So there's these delete ones that we just saw, gives you a little warning, and then we'll delete the project permanently. But this one, which I don't own, it's one that I joined through link sharing. Instead of a delete button, there is a leave button. So if I click on that, I get a warning saying that I'm about to leave this project. And that means that I will no longer be able to access it. It doesn't affect the actual owner of the project. If I hit confirm and actually leave, the only way for me to get back into that project is to be re-invited or to have the link sent to me again by the owner. So this is an action that actually we cannot undo from support. Only the owner of the project can invite people to it. So again, you should be careful about doing that. I'm not sure if I really want to leave this project, so I'll just hit cancel. So what we've seen here is there's a series of filters along the top. There's all projects, where you can see all of your currently active projects. This all projects doesn't include archived and trashed. So these are all active projects, including ones that are shared with you. If you want to narrow it down to just the projects that you own, you can select your projects. If you'd like to see projects that have been shared with you, you click on the shared with you filter. These two other areas are the ones that are for projects that are off your active dashboard. The archive, which is really just a holding area for things you don't want to currently look at, and the trash projects, which you should think of as a list of things that you intend to delete eventually or leave. There's another way of filtering projects, though, a way of keeping your dashboard organized, and that's with tags and folders. So In Overleaf, we use the terms tags and folders interchangeably. This is kind of for historical reasons. Overleaf represents the merger of two different LaTeX editors, and one of the editors used the term folder, and the other editor used the term tag. So you'll see in current day Overleaf, we use both terms somewhat interchangeably. Generally speaking, I think that these behave more like tags rather than folders. They're not really nested. They're really just a label. So the main idea is to use these to organize your work. For example, I've got some folders here, tags, such as bib example, bib workshop, posters, a variety of tags, and they're all listed here. If you click on the tag on the side, you'll see those projects that have been added to that tag. That'll include ones that have other tags on them as well. So how do we manage our tags? If you click on one of the projects, you select it, the folder and tag button will appear. And here you can remove tags. And by removing the tag on that one, since I was in the homework folder, it seems to have disappeared. However, if we go back to all projects, we'd be able to find it in this list. Let's look over here at this tag. This one is labeled as sent to students. You can remove the tags either by clicking them here, by clicking on the little X next to them. I'm going to add homework here. Another option is to, you can click multiple folders, for example. So let's take a look at, again, the homework tag. If I select all of these, I can manage multiple at once. So I might decide that I want to remove the needs review tag and the sent to students tag. And I'm going to classify all of this homework as fun. So you can do kind of bulk updates on your tags. There is a way of accessing a list of all of your tags, all of your projects that are not tagged in the uncategorized area. So this list is one of projects that are in need of organizing. So I might select a couple here. And I'm going to classify these all as examples. So I'm going to create a new folder. So there are various strategies that you can use in terms of what folders and tags you want to create and make use of. You could use folders to categorize the contents, as I've done mostly here, saying something is homework or something is an example. You can also categorize them in terms of where they are in your life cycle of work. For example, at one point I was using this needs review tag. So you could have different status tags that you apply. Another option is to note where you have used special features for particular projects. For example, I like to keep track of which projects have been linked to my GitHub account. So I might use this GitHub tag. It's really just a flexible way of allowing you to organize and keep on top of your projects. Now, one last thing I wanted to show you about the project dashboard and is the option here, the help option. The help option takes you to two things, either our documentation pages, which include both Overleaf and LaTeX documentation, or to the contact us form. If you click on that, you will be able to send a quick message to support. We strongly suggest that if you're having trouble with a particular project, that you include the URL for that project, because it'll help us troubleshoot any problems that you're having. And when you hit the contact us, you're going to be sending an email to support@overleaf.com. And all of our emails are read by a human, and we try to respond quickly. And we're definitely happy to receive any feedback that you can provide that way, or any requests for help. Okay, so that was kind of a quick overview of the Overleaf dashboard. Hopefully you found some of that useful. If you have any questions, I'll turn to the question list now and see if there are any that have come in. So one question that actually comes up pretty frequently is whether you can change the colors associated with the tags and folders. Currently you cannot, but that's something that's been requested a fair amount. So it's something that the product team is considering. So let me see, there's another question here. So one question was about how to choose the tag names. I think this really varies based on your requirement. I think if you're working as part of a team, you know, you may have one set of requirements. You may want to use tags to keep on track of your particular responsibilities for different projects you're working on. If mostly these are personal projects, you may use a different set of tags. So in my case right now, I'm using this workbench to organize things for another workshop on bibliographies. So I have two tags that I'm using for these. One that's kind of a general bib example tag, and this is listing a whole bunch of projects that show various aspects of bibliography use in LaTeX. But then I also have another tag for specific projects that I'm going to use as part of the workshop. So that's one kind of small example of how I'm using tags to keep things organized for a particular piece of work that I'm working on. I also have a more generic examples tag that is really for things, other LaTeX examples that I'm keeping track of. Okay, so there are a couple other questions just about whether you can order the tags. Currently, the tags, you can't change the order that they're displayed here or in the list. This is basically, they're done in alphabetical order. And can you combine the tags when searching? You cannot click on multiple tags currently. So you can only do the single tag filtering. However, one thing I didn't point out was the search option up here. So the search option is also quite helpful. So this is based on the name of your project. So for example, in my case, I'm doing a lot of bibliography stuff. I might use natbib for some. So the search option at the top is really a way to also get to some of the projects that maybe you haven't completely sorted through your tagging. All right, so I think we're at time. We'll try to follow up with any questions that have not been answered here. We'll send you an email that will provide some resources and answer any unanswered questions. So I'd like to thank you again for joining us. And hope that you found some useful information here and that you will join us again for our future webinars. Thanks very much.